Hello everybody, welcome to the Interesting Modelling Company Sunday service. Now, in a change to the advertised programming, I'm afraid we're going to be a little shorter tonight, and we're going to be a one-man show because unfortunately Drew isn't very well this evening, so we've been unable to get Spence on as well because he's got prior engagements. So rather than hit you with the peeling poster of doom and cancel tonight's show, I thought we'll go ahead and we'll just do a short kind of live demo and just answer some questions and things. So bear with us. It's like I say, it's not going to be the regular Sunday service. We'll probably do that during the week at some stage because we've got lots of news to get through. So apologies in advance that this is not the show you were expecting. So, but let us crack on, shall we? Because we have been painting our beach buggy this week. Now, this was painted with this, which is Tamiya's rather splendid LP44 metallic orange, which I've got to say, that's kind of not a bad match for the box art one, actually. I think that does the trick. In order to keep everything simple on this, I literally primed the body shell with some Tamiya fine white primer, which is this stuff here, and let that dry for probably about half a day. Gave it a quick polish with some Scotch Brite, which is this stuff here, and then just sprayed probably a mix of 50-50 LP44 and Tamiya's own lacquer thinner. Did it in light coats and then gave it a slightly heavier tooth coat. And that's all I'm going to do with this. I'm not going to polish it. I'm not going to go down that whole route that a proper car modeler would do. So apologies to proper car modelers out there. This is just going to be left as is. I shall probably give it a slight polish with a cloth, but that's it. We're not going to do any compounds or flatting it or buffing it up. It's just going to be left like this, to try and keep it as simple as we can within the means of a beginner or an inexperienced modeler. So I think we could do a quick recap on how we have got here, and that is that this Airfix beach buggy was assembled using this £10 under £10 toolkit, which consisted of some sanding sponges, a sanding stick, a file, haven't used the file yet, some rather nifty tweezers, a more than adequate modelling knife, which you can fit X-Acto blades in there, some spare blades, and a pair of cutters, and that was it. That was all we used. And obviously we used some liquid cement, which was some Tamiya Extra Thin, which is around here somewhere. There it is, and some Tamiya Extra Thin quick setting. So that was it. As I said, we tried to keep everything as basic and as simple as possible and as affordable as possible. This is a nice cheap kit as well. I think this retails for under £10. It's actually surprisingly more complex than I originally thought it was going to be, and we'll show you that in a second. So we've got our box of delights here, which is a in joke for those of you who know what November the 24th means. And what have we got here? We've got the seats are all painted up in semi-gloss black, along with the instrument panel and the steering wheel. And the steering wheel, I've picked the actual rubber grip portions out in matte black. We have got the suspension and most of the drive chain. That was painted black at the same time, then painted a nice it was the Tamiya. Let me just check. It's their lacquer and it's their silver, and I can't remember what the colour is. It's here somewhere. Mr. Farmer's watching. He'll no doubt be able to shout out the colour as is. Oh goodness me, we'll find it in a minute. But it's their lovely, Tamiya's lovely lacquer silver that they do. Which no, it's it there. No, it's gunmetal. Hey ho, we'll find it. Oh, there it is. LP38 flat aluminium, absolutely beautiful paint, terrific. And no, it wasn't. I tell a lie. It wasn't. Oh, I'll get the right paint in a minute. Yes, it was. Sorry. Come on, man, get your brain into gear. That was Tamiya's LP38. This is what happens when you don't have a co-host. So that's all done. There's a little bit of detail painting to do on that. And while we're at it, again, the clear parts were painted black, and then we've gone in there with the silver. So that gives you a nice dense basis to base to put silver down on, and it just avoids that kind of translucency if you try to spray silver directly onto clear parts. Then we've got the floor pan there, and then we've got the rear tarp, whatever you want to call it. That's the engine cover, actually. Yeah, that goes over there like so. And then we've got our wheel hubs, which again we painted first off painted black, and then we went in there with the aluminium. So we've only got a little bit of painting left to do on this, which are the tires, and I don't know whether we're going to do that tonight or not. We'll read some of the comments and see what's going on out there. LP11, yes, I think it might have been LP11. I can't remember. I can't find it. It's around here somewhere. This is what happens when you have to do a live show very quickly on your own. And of course, not forgetting Sonny and Sher here, which I base coated with that Humbrol 61, and I will start going in there. What I will do is I will go in there with the oils and actually do all the flesh tones and everything before I then go in and start doing the rest of the clothing. So those will be the last ones of all to do on that. So what can we do this evening? I think we could paint the wheels and paint the actual rubber portions, in which case we might do some crafty masking. And that's what I think. Yeah, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to get some frog tape, which is essentially kind of the same as Tamiya masking tape. And we are going to get our trusty scalpel blade. And I'm going to have to take one of the rubber gloves off here because the masking tape sticks to the rubber gloves. And all I'm doing off camera is I'm just cutting some sections of, probably hear it actually, I'm cutting some sections of masking tape. I have a rough idea of what I want to do, but whether this will actually work live is another matter. So then what I'm going to do is pop that down there and get a cocktail stick and burnish it into the rim like so, and then taking a sharp blade, this may or may not work, is run that blade in there like so. Hopefully, yeah, close enough. We'll see how good / bad that masking is when I actually get around to painting the wheels in a second, but let's do the other one as well. In fact, I think we can use the rest of that tape. Whilst I'm doing this, I'm just going to say a big hello to Kat and Jared, who I bumped into at the Model Soldier show in Nails today. They came over and introduced themselves, which was rather nice. That was very, very kind of them, and they were utterly delightful. And yes, always good fun to meet people who actually sit down and endure this nonsense that we put out every week, or twice a week rather. Of the show itself, it was very well organised. It's actually, ironically, that was the last model show I went to in November 2019, and then obviously 2020 happened. So it was nice to be back. Not that busy. I'd say probably 75% of the people there weren't wearing masks, and I kind of popped in, said hello to a few people. Didn't buy anything because there weren't that many traders there. I had a look at some nice models, and then that was it. I was pretty much, that's all I wanted to do for that show. But it was nice to be back. Nice to see some old faces I hadn't seen for a couple of years. Like I say, since the last model show. Oh, look at that! It's not taking the paint off. It's actually taking the metallic flakes off. Let me have a think about this. Tumty tum. Actually, I don't think this is the Tamiya. I think this was the K Colors 61 Chrome, because this is an alcohol-based paint. So I don't think I did use the Tamiya on that. In which case, I'm having second thoughts, because I think this masking is going to be far too aggressive on this paint. So Stopson has a think about that, because I get the feeling if I lift this tape up, how much of that silver is going to actually come off with it. We'll stick with it. Stick with the main plan. I'm just trying. Just bear with me a sec. I've got to get that to stay over there like so, but it's not going to, because we've got a raised blob in the middle. So yeah, that'll do it. So yeah, it was very nice. It felt like we were back to not normal, but it was nice to do something which felt reasonably normal again. And I did bump into Mike Holloway, formerly of Reheat Models, who was there. Yeah, no, that's not going to work. Do you know what, folks? I'm having second thoughts about this, because I think, yeah, that K Colors paint is far too fragile to do any masking over, unlike the Tamiya stuff. See, look, that is coming off in great big chunks. They're not chunks, it's coming off. So always good to do these things live, because what this is showing us is, in fact, I don't know if you can see that. Can you see how much that's taken off? It actually does demonstrate what happens when things go slightly awry, that you have to think on your feet, kind of come up with a plan B. So I'm actually kind of, as inconvenient as it is for this not to be quite working to plan, what it does do is it means we've got to come up with another plan. So we will problem solve live on the show. So what I'm doing is I'm just going in there with the Scotch-Brite, and I'm just roughing that surface up a bit. I think those hubs will be fine. Right, hold on, lads. I've had an idea. And what we're going to do is we will pop these back on. What we're going to do is we are going to paint these tyres with a flat metallic, with a flat black rather, or a flat dark grey. And then we will use I've actually got an artist template kicking around somewhere, and we'll use that to mask the tyre areas. Then we'll actually go in there with some silver at another date. So let's at least get some black on these tyres. So we will need a bit of paper like that, and I will need I think I've got a suitably dirty black brown colour here somewhere. Let's a quick look. Talks amongst yourselves whilst he tries to find his Tamiya XF1. Nope, that's not it. Oh, goodness me. There it is. XF1 matte black. How much have we got in there? This is where on live I open a bottle and suddenly discover I've got nothing left in there. Oh, we got nothing there. So if you're tuning in and wondering why is this not like the normal show, like I say, apologies. Apologies, Drew can't do tonight because he's not feeling very well. Thank you to all those passing him his best wishes. So this is going to be a short, kind of uninteresting modelling company show, really. And we will be back with the news programme probably in the middle of the week. So you're probably also thinking, why are you using flat black instead of a dark grey colour for tyres? Well, because we will make it a dark grey colour when we actually get around to the weathering. So for now, it's going to suffice to be a matte black. I'll do for now. Now, one of the joys of wearing these gloves is that I can, just having another rethink here, how am I going to do this? That's how I'm going to do it. You get a closed peg and just oops. Never mind Spencer losing his live videos. This is one of those occasions where I hope Facebook loses this one rapidly. Because, as I say, sometimes... Wah, wah. Welcome to Comedy Hour. How can I... Let's have a think. Right. We're going to do a quick plan B here, which is... We're going to get a bit of blue tack. What you do on Sunday night? Honestly, it's watched Confused Man from Dudley make an absolute horlicks of his modelling. Well, it wasn't supposed to be a demo. This is a. There we go. That'll do. Bit of blue tack in there. That does the job. Now, the thing I like about Tamiya XF1 is that It sprays beautifully and it dries really, really quickly. And it does dry to this almost kind of like blackboard matte black finish, which is absolutely splendid. Right, that's that one done. What we'll do is pop you off. And the second one. Tim Cavalier says, turn the peg around to keep it attached to the tyre. Yeah, I think I know what you mean, Tim. But unfortunately, I haven't got my brain switched in to do that tonight. I know what you mean. You turn the peg inside out, but what can I say about this beach buggy? It is absolute total modelling fun from start to finish. I know I got into trouble once with somebody because I described something as a fun project, and he rather sternly told me that, well, all modeling's supposed to be fun. He hated me using the phrase, it's a fun project. But, well, I think we know what I mean, is sometimes things that we build can turn into, they can feel like they're a bit of a chore. Whereas this hasn't. This has just been, there we go. This has just been such good fun. And it's just a chance to kind of go back and build something like you would when you were a kid. Complete, for me, it's a complete change of gear, if you pardon the pun. And it's a kit that I always wanted to build as a kid. It does fit into my fascination with the whole kind of VW Beetle family and its variants. Obviously, not only the pre-war, we'll call them Beetles, they weren't Beetles, but you know what I mean, the pre-war Volkswagens, through to the military variants of the Schwimmwagen and the Kugelwagen. And then obviously post-war variants like this, of which this one apparently is the Bugle buggy, so it was a British derivation of it. Actually, I need to read the history to make sure I'm not allocating this one to VW, but I'm sure it is. Let's just read the history, otherwise I'll have Dave telling me off. Yeah. It says, beach buggy, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it says Bugle Marketing Development, one of these companies, and their car is the subject of this kit. So, yeah, it is based on a Volkswagen Beetle. I just thought I'd double check that. So, I can pop that one off. And the last one. This one is going to be the one that doesn't want to lock onto this. Yeah. John Patrick Swarbrick says, a British beach buggy. Yeah, apparently these were made by, get the instructions out so I can read it properly. These were apparently made by the Bugle Marketing and Development, or one of these companies. Yeah, it says here, very much a fun car. Its popularity spread quickly, and before long, a number of companies in Britain began marketing kits for road use. Bugle Marketing and Development were one of these companies, and their car is the subject of this kit. Costing about £300 less engine and chassis in 1970, the Bugle buggy had a top speed of 80 miles an hour using a 1500cc engine. So there you go. As I say, this is just one of those kind of things as a kid that I'd have loved to have built this, but couldn't find it in the model shops. It hasn't been around. I'd have to check my scale mates, but I don't think this has been around in a very long time. And we're talking about probably 40 years or more. So to get it back as part of the Vintage Classics line from Airfix is actually rather nice. I think the other one of this era was the Bond buggy. Now, I don't know whether the tooling for that still exists or not. I think that's probably one they're going to have to find out at Margate. But that would be nice to come. That would be nice to come back. I think that's pretty much that for that. We'll just use up the last of the paint in the airbrush. Like I say, this stuff dries so quickly that you can easily start picking up bits and pieces and handling it, and it doesn't matter. So, if everybody's watching tonight, what are you working on at the moment? What have you been doing with your modelling time today? And I do hope, actually, that when you are watching the show, because we've been talking about the need to find time for our hobbies, is use this when we're doing these live shows once or twice a week. Is if you can prop your iPad or your phone up in the corner of your workshop or your workbench or your kitchen table or wherever it is you make models, is use this show as time to actually get on with some modelling and have us in the background as a soundtrack. Because honestly, we're better to listen to than look at. Well, some of us. So yeah, is make the most of that time. And what we've been doing, what we're trying to do this week is start this kind of like, what can you do in 10 minutes, this 10-minute challenge. And honestly, most of the painting on this beach buggy has been done in 10-minute chunks, in between other things or waiting for the kettle to boil, rather than kind of wanting to sit down and have one long modelling session, which I think sometimes we all want to do, but life isn't that practical. So it's amazing what you can actually sit down and achieve in shorter chunks. Now I'm just checking my template here. Is that one going to be? Do you know what, folks? I think we're going to wing this. That's big enough to do that one, and that's the biggest tire. And that one, or can we do both of them with that one? I think we can, you know. Brian Wilton says, doing wing roots and leading edges on a P39K. Very nice. Do you like an Aerocobra? And John Patrick Swarbrick says, I've started the old Revell 32nd scale Harry G01 and progress on an MAK kit. Yeah, that old Revell Harrier is not even a GR1. It's actually one of the early. It's one of the interim P1127. So it's that kind of hybrid from the very early P1127s through to the Kestrels, and then you had the I suppose you could call them pre-production Harriers. So they were more Harrier than what had gone before, but it still had some oddities like the shape of the fairing just ahead of the forward vectoring nozzle. So there's little things like that. But yeah, Spencer keeps threatening he's going to build his. So, and Darren McGuinness says, I've been adding stickers to my Meng Super Hornet. Fantastic kit. Sat on my bench with you in front of me. Well, for goodness sake, Darren, I hope we're not going to put you off this evening. And let's have a look. That's there, but he's building things. This is jolly good. David Mummery says, with regard to the beach buggy, 1973 and 79 and 2021 were the box release years according to Scalemates. Yeah, so it has not been around for a very, very, very long time. Very long, very, very, very long time. Andy Brennan is working on his special hobby, Westland Whirlwind in 32nd scale, which is the correct answer. It's a kit. I've started mine, but that's because that's a me project. That's very much going to get pushed to the side as I'm doing stuff for other people. Rob Monfils says, repairing hawks. Yes. Damien Mullen says, I'm using my new Procon Boy 0.2 on my Bilek Tomcat. Peter Adshead says, 132nd scale airbus progress today. 132nd scale airbus? Goodness me. Your modelling workbench must be the size of a hangar. iPad popped up. I thought the noise of your compressor was mine. Yes. Does tend to kick in when it's not meant to. Wayne A. Beatty said, I'm painting the fiddly bits on an OA4M. Well, what kit's that, Wayne? Is that the Fujimi or the monogram one? Andy King says, I'm currently building the ICM 35th scale BM13/16 for the modelling news. Mike Williams says, I'm in the workshop cleaning up seams on all the underwing saws for the 48 scale ICM A26K counter invader. Very, very nice. And we're just, goodness me, I've never seen such a productive box of a bunch of modelers here. Dan Wood says, I'm putting loads of bombs together for my 48 scale Canberra while you're spraying. Matthew Walker says, I'm doing that right now, except I'm making trombones, not models. Well, that's it all adds up. Craig Sargent says, 2 times Hasegawa 12/48 A4s M&N variants. Paul Milligan is building sub-assemblies on the Tamiya 32nd scale Mustang. Tim Cavalier is detailing interior on the Italeri ACH 47A Chinook gunship. Stan Codling is airfix Kate while 3D printing Star Wars miniatures figures. I think they are 146 scale. Dave Swindle, Valiant B2 conversion progressing slowly. I will catch up with what the rest of you are doing, but I just need to do some painting here, so bear with me for a moment. I'm just slapping the old latex back on. Because I just want to give the colour cup here a quick swish round. And then I'll tell you what, that piece of paper has served its purpose, and into the bin it goes. And we're going to get a nice piece of kitchen roll. Now, this is the K Colors. This is an alcohol-based acrylic, and this is their chrome. It's very nice, sprays beautifully, but as you've seen, it's not very hardy when it comes to masking. However, the good news is we're not going to be doing any more masking, so this can be used and will serve its purpose. So here is the bit that's always a bit, this is where you need extra hands. So we'll line that up as best we can and then hold that in place. And then because these bits are on the inside of the wheels and they're not really going to be seen because of the, we're going to do some weathering on them as well. That does the job. Yeah. I'm not going to lose any sleep over that. So I should be putting pigments and weathering into these, so whatever slight overspray gets out from that hub and goes into the goes onto the tire, it's gonna have mud and dust and stuff on it, sand essentially. So see, that's fine. That's I think sometimes we can be a little bit too finicky. Nothing wrong with that, but so I'm just aligning that as best I can with that template. Good thing about this alcohol paint is it does flash off very, very quickly. Get rid of that. Yeah, easy peasy. That made short work of that. Also, as well, you're probably wondering or thinking, should I not have covered up my beautiful Tamiya cutting mat a bit more to stop the overspray? Quite literally, you can see how much overspray we had there. We're only spraying small areas. I think sometimes we can, again, do a little bit of overkill when it comes to doing small spraying jobs like that. Obviously, if I was spraying large areas or even that body, I would be covering up. I wouldn't even have the cutting mat on the desk, actually. I'd have larger paper down. But for doing little jobs like that, and all I'm going to do with the airbrush at the moment is just blast through it. That's it. That'll clean it through for now. Drop a bit of lacquer thinner in the cup, like so. And once I finish doing the live tonight, I should go in there and give it a bit of a better clean. But until now, a bit of backflash. That's all I need to do for that. So who's building Wayne ABTs using the phase hanger conversion for the TA4J? Peter Adshead says 130. We've been practical. It's an H145 helicopter. I thought A380. I thought, blimey, that is big. Dave Mummery is working on the consumption of 1-to-1 scale bowl of pasta. Funny, we joke, but Tamiya actually do. They actually do. No, who is it who does that? They do like a pot noodle kit. Is it Bandai? Somebody like that. Actually doing we've covered it on the show before. Ian Rusko is spraying a 1/350th scale HMS Cornwall trumpeter kit. Yeah, you really would need to cover your workbench up for that. Michael Scott is apparently brushing dogs at the moment. Airfix Chippy a little later. And John Connolly says, would you use the cheap airbrushes as a daily brush? John, in all honesty, that is exactly what I've been doing with the Fenders since I bought them. I don't think I've used my beautiful Iwata. I forgot what it is now. There it is, my Iwata Eclipse. I don't think I've used that for the last couple of months. I have been exclusively using the FE183 and the FE180. And that's it. And primarily I've been using them just to see how long they'll last. They're still working. As you can see tonight, they're still working. Consumes beverage. Right. The beauty of this is now that we kept everything like this separate, because once you push these wheels together, there is a little bit of a seam line on the inside there, but it matches a molded line on the outside there anyway. So in terms of that, this is taking care of the tires. So I'm just seeing if there is an alignment thing. No, there isn't. You just push them together. Or is there? Yeah, you just push them together like so. And that's it. Could have actually gone in there with a bit more black on the edge there, but do you know what? We can touch that up at another date. I'm not going to worry about that. That one like so. Push them together. Helps. Try and do it on camera. That does help. So by doing that separately, you can see we've got that nice separation between the hub and the tyre. As I say, might need to go in there actually just do a little bit of touch up along the edges there with the black, but that's a simple job. And then there's our last hub there. Yeah, we will do, but just need to go in there. But yeah. Prices of Fender shot up this week. Okay. Well, I'm sure that's a joke, but we'll check that. John Patrick says my Fender has lasted 4 years of very regular use. Yeah, I'm not anticipating it breaking down anytime soon. I've been really quite impressed with how they've gone together. Do you know what? I think now that we've done that, I think we can actually get round to doing a bit of final assembly. We'll wrap this up for tonight in a second, mercifully, because you've all got better things to do, I am quite sure. But what we will do is just having a look at the instructions. Yeah, okay. We've got the floor there. Connects to that in there like so. So let's just have a look. Oh, well, that's so positive. I don't even need to put any. Try and do it on camera, man. That's so positive. I don't even need to put any glue on that. And we've got the, I think that's the sump cover goes on there. Is that it? Oh no, we've got that bit in place. So where's the sump cover go? There it is there. So that just sits on. Yeah, that sits there like so, but we will need a bit of glue for that. So we're just going to get a bit of the extra thin, wherever that's gone. Honestly, take a tip from me. Don't do modeling live on the internet, because you put things down and they vanish and then you can't find them. Ah, there it is. So we'll just put a tiny blob of that on there like so. That'll do. And then I'm desperate to see this actually all kind of like together in one go, but fighting the temptation to do that. But I think we'll do that. I think that's how we'll wrap up tonight. We will actually get this pretty much together as a set of sub-assemblies. So that's that. Incidentally, that forward piece there, that more tricky than I thought it was going to be. Not because there are any fit problems, but because it is just an exceedingly fiendishly complex set of parts to assemble. But we got there in the end. But again, that was one of those kind of modeling projects where you could have done with an extra, like, I think an octopus. Oops, Daisy, what's he broken? broken something. Oh, I've knocked the pedals off. I'll go back in there. It's because I was being a bit clumsy there. There you go. That goes in there like so. Oh, there we go. We knocked them off. But those are easily popped back into place. Like so. And then we will if it can go wrong, it will go wrong. Doom. Right. Put a liquid cement in there, and then like I say, this is just so exceedingly fiddly. Drop a bit of hey. So essentially that will then marry up into there somehow, in theory. Yeah, I'm in a brain fade moment here. So I'm trying to work out how this all interlocks. That's it. There we go. We got there in the end. Oh, look at that. And obviously, fat tyres at the back. These cows are small, those are far away. So we'll only just pop these on for the moment. It's like that bit with an aircraft model when you can't wait to put the wings onto the fuselage to see what it all looks like. I don't think that wheel's not going to stay on for tonight. We're going to need to glue that one on, but essentially that gives you an idea of what gives you an idea of what it's going to look like. I don't know, it's pretty exciting, I think. Especially with those exhausts sticking out the back. Wowzers. Right, that is an impetus to get that really finished off over the next night or so and get the figures painted up. So there we go. We're getting there in the end. So like I say, apologies for tonight. A slightly improvised and ramshackle live because things happen. Just playing catch up here. Dave Fleming says Fender was $25.99, now $45.99. Goodness me! Ed Jones wasn't joking then. Dave Fleming says that's the FE186K. Ed Jones says not joking. My F186 now costs around 37 quid. So what we're going to do? We'll have a quick look. We're going to go on to AN retailer, and let's just do Fender. Or let's just do Fender FE183 airbrush. Well, at the moment, let me just pop onto the let's just pop onto share screen. Bear with me a second. Window, Chrome tab. There we go. On Amazon at the moment, the FE183 is down as £25.99 free with Prime. That's the set I bought. So that's the same as my FE183 I've got here. So currently on Amazon, they are still just short of 26 quid. The FE180, we'll just have a quick look for that. Now, that's interesting. Doesn't appear to be listed. Can't see one. Let's just double check that. Let's do, yeah, £45. Ouch. Oh, there we go. Nope. There we go. Fender FE BD180. That's the same set I bought. That is the identical set that I bought, and £27.99, which is pretty much how much I paid for it. So they are out there still at fairly reasonable prices. So JM says, JM, would you promote cheap brush airbrush over the good ones? No, I wouldn't. Well, let me just get the petard out so I can hoist myself on it. This is a tricky one, you see. We've been trying these Fender ones just to see if they're any good. Now, for people who are on a really, really tight budget who want an airbrush, I would always say save up and get a decent airbrush like an Iwata Neo or something like that. But I want to see just how far we can go with these Fender airbrushes, see what they do and how long they last. So it's a catch-22, John. I would always say buy the best airbrush you can afford, and I would always say err on the side of getting something like an Iwata Neo. And in fact, I am going to put my money where my mouth is in the next couple of weeks, because I'm actually going to go out and buy an Iwata Neo. But on the other hand, if you are somebody who uses airbrushes and wants to see what these Fender ones can do, I would not stand in your way of going out and buying one and making your own mind up. The problem is there are so many of these kind of cheap, unbranded double action airbrushes out there that just, I've road tested them for companies. I've been sent them and said, can you do an assessment for us? And then I've emailed them back and said, yeah, they've all stopped working. That was quick, yeah, because they all stopped working that quickly. Honestly, some of them out there, you know, the componentry, you know, it's made of Weetabix. It's just, they're absolute terrible. But the Fender ones aren't. They are actually very well engineered and very well manufactured airbrushes. So as I say, Drew's got one, Spencer's got one, I think Jen's got one as well. So we are, you know, I'm road testing these ones until they stop working. But at the moment, they are still performing as well as my Iwatas. They don't have the same precision as my Iwatas, but they are proving themselves to be as reliable as my Iwatas. So I would say, if you're curious, buy one. If you are buying an airbrush for the first time and you really cannot stretch to an Iwata Neo, then give them a go. But if you are serious about getting into airbrushing, expense is one of those things you're not going to get around. And so I would say, don't buy a few kits, get yourself an Iwata Neo and get yourself something like a Sparmax compressor, because you will be using them all the time on your modeling and they will pay dividends. So yeah, I've got splinters on my backside from sitting on the fence on that one, so I do apologize. And David Mummery says, looking nice. Yeah, I got to say, now that I've got it to that stage, that, oh God, that reminds me so much of the cars that my late uncle used to build. It just, just that mix of kind of metallic gold and silver, and modeling nostalgia that is. So anyway, look, that's it for tonight. We've managed to unfortunately inflict an hour on you of this nonsense. I'm just going to play catch up with the rest of the comments. Hi, Jen. When sticking bits with paint on using liquid cement, do you find it attacks the paint? Yes, it does attack the paint, but I'm circumspect as to where I go. So on the case of where I broke the foot pedals off here, when it came to putting the repairing them, I did it at the back, which nobody's going to see. So if it does attack the paint and it spoils the paint, you're not going to see it. Whereas the view from the front there, it's not. Again, with where I've just glued that suspension unit on there, I did it in such a place where it's not going to be visible. And the same with I put the sump guard on there at the bottom. So yeah, it will attack the paint. Some people will scrape the paint off to get a better joint. I just find sometimes it's, the liquid cement is so hot, especially the Tamiya stuff. It's so hot that it goes straight through the paint, back to the plastic, and it'll just, put it together again. And Dave says, just like the old Airfix book page. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, look, we're gonna wrap this up now because you lovely people have been very patient to endure me winging it for an hour tonight. Hopefully we will be back on Wednesday. I've got a busy diary next week, so I don't know where I am on Wednesday. I could be back here in Somerset. I could actually be down in Dorset. Who knows? But hopefully Drew will be back on Wednesday. So Drew, if you're watching, get well soon. And thank you everybody who's watched tonight. And we will be progressing this wonderful little beach buggy. I'm not kidding. If you are looking for a fun project over Christmas, get yourself one of these. It's just utterly fabulous. Really enjoyed that. And I've got some other fun projects to do. I've got a motorbike to build over the next few weeks as well. So take yourself out your comfort zone. Build something that you're not used to building. But the other thing we are really keen to push this week is, if you are short of time, just see what you can do in 10 minutes. Even if it's just a case of just taking some bits off of a sprue or doing some cleanup or having a tidy up in your workshop. What can you do in 10 minutes? We're going to continue this 10-minute challenge. Anyway, we are going to overrun now. So on that note, thank you everybody for watching. Stay safe, stay out of trouble, and we'll see you later in the week. So bye for now.